Mic test, mic test. Hello everyone, hello. Okay, awesome. Seems like audio is fine, at least on Twitch. Let me check YouTube, make sure it's all good. So welcome, hello everybody. So today I'll be going over a lot of things actually. We'll be going over, of course, the 2 new pilots Awaken. That should have been talking about it in my guide as well. Of course, I will be talking about also in depth on how to build Zero and Great Mazinger Kaiser. I'll also be getting into a lot of other stuff as well. Also, let me make sure my sound is like, let me make sure the music is not as loud as the sound. So give me 1 second. Yeah, we'll be going over a lot of things today, and everything I talk about will be timestamped in the comments and in the description. So if you're watching this in the future, you can just go there to get to the place that you want to see. I'll also be talking about for example why would you use Tetsuya over Koji on Zero and stuff like that. And after some PvP session on using Zero and using Gym Kit on EN, I have a better idea on what might be better on EN for the I don't know. You guys get what I meant, like the better EN builds. So I'll also be going over Merlin PH as well, briefly, because it is a mecha that I won't really recommend to get. But anyway, so we have a lot of things to get through today. Let me just get everything ready up, and we can start. Let me also check if it is okay in. Alright, so okay, I think the music is a little bit loud, so give me 1 second. How about now? Mic test, mic test. Mic test, mic test. The thing is, yeah, it seems like the music is not going lower for some reason. Come on. I think this music is fine. I think, right? Again, let me know if it is not good. I'll change it before the stream starts. Okay, seems like that's good. Welcome, Owen. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming by. Thank you. And what else am I think there's something I'm missing, but I couldn't remember. Because again, there's so much thing to get through today. I'll try to get through everything as fast as possible as well. So yeah, and of course, feel free to ask any questions. Just know that I will answer the questions after I finish talking about something. For example, if I'm talking about Koji, and if you ask a question, I will wait until after I finish talking about Koji. Then I will talk about then I'll answer your questions. So yeah, just know about that. Welcome, yeah, welcome, Stan, welcome. Thanks for coming. All right, I need to show myself real first. Hello. Alright, so while we're waiting for some more people to come, let's just quickly go over some news about Iron Saga. What have been or what is new. Of course, in NC we got the guessing game, which in EN we also have it, but I think for EN it's already passed. Just look out for future, because they do actually give out some good rewards. Of course, we have I forgot her name. I forgot her English name, but her pilot Awaken, which is pretty interesting. I have done a translation of her Awaken in my Discord, and again, in my Discord, this is my Discord. So if anyone want to join, here's the links, and it will also be linked in the comments and in the description. So, and of course, I'm streaming this also on Twitch. So if you guys want to see it on Twitch, if it's easier for you, you guys can go there as well. Of course, we got a new mech. This new mech, which technically is free, because we get not free per se, but we get a lot of free rewards for this mecha as well. And of course, the new mecha here as well, which I have already done video about. So the new skins looks pretty good, which is skin that I've been using on my thing. So alright, and of course just some new events, which is pretty interesting, of course. And yeah, not much worthy new stuff, I would say. And for EN it's just Zero Collab and stuff like that. And I probably should have done this stream a long time ago. Anyway, let's alright, let me go to my account so we can start on doing the guide. So alright, let me go into both my EN and NC so I can start, and I'll start with actually, you know what, I'm gonna get through the quicker ones. I'm gonna get through Merlin PH, and now I'm gonna also go through how to deal with the zero boss and stuff like that. So, all right, so let me get into my account. All right, so of course we have let me sort of click. All right, so first, Merlin PH. This is a mecha that I really highly do not recommend because the mecha by itself is already kind of like the retrofit by itself is already kind of just, I don't know. It's again, as a retrofit it is good, but as a mecha now it is just not at all great. The thing is, Merlin's action is not too bad. It is not as BS as some of the mecha today or that will come in the future. And combined with his chassis is also not as BS as Zero or GMKs. So really it really struggles to really compete in any aspect except for maybe in Zenith. But again, in Zenith, right, you're essentially buffing your teammates. Like, for example, of course, people can buff, like, they can make your other Zero or your other GMK be even stronger, right? But the thing is wouldn't it be better to use two good mechas versus just one mecha, like one really good buffed up mecha, and have Merlin just kind of there to just kind of existing? The biggest thing about Merlin is that if you're someone who can roll for this one, like for example, if you're someone who is willing to roll 5 copies for this one, you're probably someone who is well off, probably someone who already have a lot of other better things to use. So would you really want to use the OP or Awaken pilot to carry Merlin in Zenith or in 4v4s? I don't think that is worth it. The thing is, as a mecha that is like as a mecha is usable. Like in today's meta, it is a usable mecha, but it is just not the optimal choice when you want to compete in PvP. It can pretty much do good CCs if you have a really good pilot to keep it alive, and you also have a good team to kind of like, I don't know what that pilot will be in EN, because again, EN is in zero meta, and during zero meta your units can die very quickly. Because Zero just touch you once and there goes you. So but yeah, so Merlin really not worth it, especially for new players. It's just for players who already have like 5 copies of Merlin PH, or someone who already have 4 to 5 copies of Merlin, so they can buff up their Merlin to something that's a little bit more usable even into this meta, and it can be like a somewhat good CC brawler-ish kind of thing. It's aura buff into this meta really doesn't do much anymore, and its return damage can't really damage Zero. And the only thing that's really going for it is it's the really strong buff. But again, it is a random, unit, so you don't know who. You might just buff your Bahamut or something, which that probably doesn't need it because you have Ray on it, and if you have Ray on it, your Bahamut is gonna die, by one touch or just by being unlucky. So it does have the final damage dealt increase, but again, doesn't matter how much. It does matter, but you're not gonna be really doing more damage versus Bahamut or Zero or stuff like that, right? So yeah, it's stat wise it's not comparable into this meta. Skill wise it's just too RNG and too lack of BS, I should say. So, but as a retrofit though, it is not bad at all. Just like look at the amount of animation that it gets, and of course it does have. Again, yeah, as a retrofit is good compared to the things we have recently. For example, Sleipnir retrofit, like God bless his soul, is really sad for some retrofit. At least Merlin, it is somewhat usable a little bit as a toy, versus some other units where it just cannot compete at all because of, I don't know, Game Dashi doesn't like it or something like that. So, I would say as a retrofit, this is also a unit that I think GD put a lot of work in, because not just the art has changed, but also you got some new animation for their attacks, and some of the attacks I believe are changed as well. So, and for other things, you guys can just watch my Merlin video. I mean, the builds in there, it doesn't show how many, like, isn't like optimal anymore. You had to watch my Merlin retrofit build test, but like the information in the video about Merlin should still hold up. So, but just know a lot of the things I talk about have been improved on this retrofit. But again, highly not recommend for any player, honestly, unless you already have 4 or 5 Merlin copy just lying around. So, yeah. 欢迎. And then after that, and I'll talk about something quick as well. So for the boss conquest, for all 3 of this, yeah, honestly, for all 3 of this unit, if you lack unit, like if you like, the easiest way is to just use my team. Like for example, you can just use my team. I believe 5,000 uses. Should be, it should be doable. Use mine, use loose team. It should be able to clear you in at least 2 or 3, at most 4 tries if things goes right. So I recommend just using my team. However, if you want to compete for top score, right? If you want to go as high as possible, there are, I guess, what's it called? There are, oh my god, there's like, I have 4 times amount of uses on Merlin. But for all 4 of them, if you want to go compete in high levels, I highly recommend just using tuning forks on units that wouldn't die, I guess. Or to put simply, like for example, your Bahamut and your Lycoris have a chance of dying, right? So you probably want to put Firm Steel on them just in case they don't die. But then on your melee unit, for example, I'm using GMK, of course. GMK is not the best DPS, but I think it's quite tanky. Thus, you can use fork on it. The enemy, because all of them are melee, the enemy is gonna hit them and they're gonna get stunned, and we can do more damage this way. So, and same for the boss control. If you're using like Odin, right? If you're using Odin, you can obviously just replace this build with Odin, and that should work as well. Just tuning fork on units that wouldn't die. Again, tuning fork wouldn't work on all units because you can still die. But in order to do high damage on these 2 bosses, I think fork are pretty important just because they're all melee and stuff. So, and if you have a good team, you shouldn't be able to let the boss move at all. So yeah, just use my team, or if you want to go for high score, just put tuning fork on your tank or on your melee unit that wouldn't die, and you should be good. And but if you're not like a top PvE player yet, you probably still would need to have Firm Steel on just in case the boss start wiggling and stuff like that. Especially for Zero, where it'll gain attack as the time goes on. So yeah. So those are the quick ones out of the way. Let's get into the Koji Awaken and Tessia Awaken, as well as the 2 Mecha that we got in this collab. So, and I'll also be answering the questions, for example, why you want to use Koji over Tessia, when I'm talking about them as well. Actually, one thing I want to talk about is Dimension Odyssey. So for those who don't know, Dimension Odyssey is a mode where you don't exactly need to be in like a very strong core, but as you'll be paired with with randoms, even if you miss it. But just know that is easier if you're in a strong corps. So and all of our corps, like the rapid corps, we are all the best, and we're always open for room. So if you guys want to like have an easier time next Dimension Odyssey, just tag me, join Discord, and I can get you in a corp with easier Dimension Odyssey fights. So. All right, so finally let's get into the pilot Awakens for Koji and for Tetsuya. So, alright, so let's talk about Koji first. Alright, I'm not going to be talking about his previous skills because the original skills are not going to be used at all. So, full power. Okay, I really wish I can like see all of them. Final damage dealt plus 30%, available once per battle. Final damage received minus 90% for 5 seconds. Meanwhile, immediately perform the strongest action and reduce the CD of other action by 30%. Very good active skill, especially if you're not like. Of course, this skill is not, or how do you say, it's a really good skill. And if you combine, how do I say, I don't know. It's good for both PvP and PvE because for PvP wise, you can use the EXO immediately, which if you build your zero right, it can potentially kill the enemy very, very quickly. And of course, the final damage value dealt, or the final damage dealt, can also be good in PvP in PvE as well. Actually, but I need to check if it's I need to check if it is freaking final damage value because again, Ian sometimes translated it wrong, and I need to make sure I get the right information. So okay, it's final damage value. So it is so this 30% final damage increase is just a pure 30% damage increase. So it is really, really good. It's good in both PvP and PvE, and it's just pretty awesome. But it is a skill that you wouldn't want to max because his other skills are just much better. And of course, I mean, well, if you're trying to go for PvE, then this skill might be something that you want to max. But if you really read, Koji's skill, he is still designed for PvP. However, again, I'll get into why Tetsuya is better than Koji on zero in a bit. So, yeah, so a pretty good skill is a pretty good active skill, but it's not like something over the top. And it is a mecha, and it is a skill that you want to skip. So now, second skill is actually quite good or quite built for PvP. So grant 100% chance to dismiss knockdown effect, select grab actions, grab immunity, stun, loss control, knock up, non-freezing. Basically, just a bunch of like non-status, like non-weapon status effect. I should say, like immune to a lot of things that isn't like EMs or like immune to a lot of things that isn't like paralyzation from EM. Not from acid and stuff like that, so it's a very good skill for PvP. However, in today's meta, this is not enough. This is not enough. In today's meta, most of the time when you're being controlled, you are you're being CC'd by skills that have 1,000% to 9,000% knockdown. So if you're using the skill, right, and you see your zero is being knocked around, just know that it's not that. Just know that whatever you're getting hit by has 1,000. It has either 1,000 or 9,000 or something like that. Those force knockdowns, and just having this is really not enough in today's PvP anymore. But it is good that it has this. So for new players, especially for new players who just came, I mean, new players not gonna have Awaken right away, right? But when you do get this Awaken, and if you're still in a position where you need to, use zero to climb, or just use any units to climb, and you have this skill, or not climb per se, but maybe in stories, right? Then this skill can really negate a lot of CC effects. But just know if you're using the skill, you still see your zero being CC. Just know that, yeah, this skill alone is not enough anymore. In terms of PvP, and if you count this in top level at PvP, this skill is basically nothing. Because again, most mecha wouldn't be affected already by by the 100%, by knockdowns that has less than 100% activations. I mean, probably it will probably make a difference, but again, there's a lot of skills that can already prevent that from happening or try to negate that. And his second effect, I mean, knockup, anti-knockout and loss of control is good, but again, gain immunity and most is 999%. But again, a lot of the things is 9999%. So you're not gonna be doing much. Yeah. All right. So, but again, it is still a very good skill for PvP and in PvP and in PvE as well. When because there are stages with a lot of CC effects. So. Final Instinct, final damage receive minus 32%, and attack plus 1.5% every 0.5 seconds, up to 60%. Very awesome skill. Zero kind of needs this in order to lower the in order to lower the damage that it takes. So it can make the damage to go under the damage negate threshold. So this is definitely a skill that you want to max. The attack part is kind of because it would take like what, like, I mean, it wouldn't take long to get it wouldn't take long to get a pure 60% attack increase, but I really wish it is final damage increase, so it can make Koji a really strong PvE pilot for those who don't have other, you know, PvE pilots as well. So, is there no 0? I'll talk about that after the, yeah, we'll talk about 0. But it's usable, yeah, it's usable. So, anyway, so, yeah, third skill, very awesome, and you kind of need it. I believe it's final damage value as well, yeah. Oh no, it's not value, so it kind of is. But again, anything that's final damage defense or final damage reduction are pretty good. So, last skill for HP plus 10%. That is something that Zero really needs. Again, Zero and Jin both need HP. Activation upon full SB, attack of 42% chance of. I would say, I think it's just ignore defensive, just pretty much all defense abilities. And cannot stack with, you know, other skill that does the same thing. When piloting Zero, turn 20% of the damage received to additional damage dealt to the enemy or to the next attacker. Now, this skill may look like Zero, like Koji's build for Zero, which, depending on your Zero build, maybe. But in my opinion, if you're building your Zero right, at least in the current climate. In the current climate of things, you're not going to be taking much damage at all. If at all, you're not going to be taking damage. So the skill completely just doesn't work. And if you're using if you're building any other way, like if you're building the Zero in any other way, I don't think that's worth it. I don't think that's worth it to just to use this skill. In fact, you might do more damage if you just build the HP way. But again, this skill will become obsolete aside from the, you know, the 10% chance or the 10% HP increase and the 42% chance of ignoring most even. Now that's pretty good. Yeah, that is pretty good, but it just feels like an incomplete skill. And 42% chance is pretty high, but Mecha now does not rely on those skills to exist anymore. I should say, you know, most Mecha rely on iframe, which is pure BS that make you not take damage in the first place versus, you know, damage reductions. So yeah. But again, it is a skill that can potentially make Zero pretty like much. I don't know. I actually don't know, because when I'm using Zero on Koji back then, I don't really see this skill really taking into effects. So you might as well just use it on Tessia, or just, you know, have increased final damage values. So yeah. But yeah, alright, so that should be it about Koji. It's a very good pilot for PvP, but it feels like a Awaken pilot that is about, like, that is around, say, at this level, kind of, if not a bit lower, which is a bit hard to compete with things like Matilda, or, you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's on par with Matilda, depending on the pilot, depending on the mecha they put in. But it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not a pilot that I would say it's on par. Because again, I don't want to say Koji as something like, as like a bad awaken, because, you know, Koji is definitely useful, right? Because Koji's active skill can activate EXO immediately, and of course his other skill have, you know, anti-CCs, have gain, you know, have defense abilities, have offensive abilities. It's a really good pilot. It's just not meta, not BS enough compared to, like, Tetsuya, right? Compared to Tetsuya, because I'll get into why Tetsuya is so strong when I talk about it. But, you know, in fact, let's just talk about Tessia, and I'm going to talk about then I can make the comparison. So, alright, so let's just talk about Tessia first. So, Tessia, for the active skill, pretty much the same thing, I believe. But except from, you know, reducing the 30% action, it will reduce it will reload all the ammo. Now, it doesn't really matter because, you know, again, this is a skill that you wouldn't really want to max. And yeah. Now, for the second skill, while alive, provide an aura granting final defense of male pilots plus 15%. Double the effect for Tetsuya himself. Now, that is broken. So, I mean, of course, in EN now, we are still using mostly female pilots, I believe, aside from him. But back in NC and JP, right? this skill is really powerful because the meta pilot at the time is, Byron, Hongwoo, and stuff like that, right? And of course himself. Maybe like the only non-male pilot are Rhea. So this skill is pretty good because it just pure 15% final defense. Okay, final defense calculate after firm seal, so it's just always just a pure 50%, 15% damage reduction. Now this alone is not broken, but it doubles for Tetsuya himself. Now that's 30% final damage reduction of final defense increases. That's combined with with your parts or your other skills, or just purely zeros final damage, final defense increase. That's a lot of final defense, to a point where it's almost guarantee you. I mean, I would say it's almost guarantee you to reduce to have damage you take below the threshold of the negation depending on your HP, right? I mean, of course, Koji have the same thing, except the thing about this is that it also shares it with other pilots as well. So just purely better final damage reduction skill. Just a better skill, just a better Koji's third skill essentially. So yeah, just already outstats, I guess. So yeah. Now, Greatest Warrior, HP plus 20% again. Another, because as I talk about in my short Zero guide, right? HP are the lifeblood for Zero and for GMK, especially GMK, I would say. And it just having 10% more HP than Koji, this skill alone already makes Koji a better pilot for Zero. Yeah, for both Zero and GNK over Koji, just because again, outstats on the important things. Plus 20% HP. The 10% is a huge deal on Zero and on GMK. So yeah, this skill alone already makes Koji the better pilots for Zero and GMK. So. And for every enemy on the field, final damage value dealt plus 5%. Again, final damage value goes after firm steel, plus 5%, and for clones the effects are halved. Again, that's so. It will gain a minimum of 20%, final damage value increase. And again, final damage value calculated after firm steel, 20% of the final damage value dealt is a huge amount, and it can basically make it easier for you to do over 1.2% of the enemy's max HP in order to trigger Zero's and GMK's offensive skill that will just kind of like steals enemies' HP because that damage you dealt are over 1.5% of 1.2% of the enemy's max HP. So yeah, again, just a purely better skill than anything that Koji can have. Koji have what? 60% attack increase, which wouldn't matter at all in PvP. So yeah, it's kind of sad, I guess. It just outstats. This two skill just outstats Koji by such a yeah. I honestly know for both of the stats, right? Or for both of the skill, or maybe not for the second skill, but for the Greatest Warrior itself, this skill alone, even if you strip everything Tessia have, and it only have the Greatest Warrior skill, it will still make Tetsuya a better pilot than Koji on Zero and on GMK. It's this powerful. So yeah. and then yeah, okay, enough about the skill. As long as you guys know how strong this skill is and just why why Koji is just what is better. On Zero, I guess. And then the last skill is just the final nail in the coffin for Koji, because increase weapon reload, switch, and action exchange or action transition speed, and action cooldown recovery speed by 20%. And for every weapon and action possessed by the piloting unit, increase the final damage overall stat by 20%. This is also just a must-have, or not a must-have, but it will benefit Zero and GMK so well, because again, I talk about in my short Zero guide as well that Zero and GMK's actions are not really on par against some of the mecha today. It's easily interruptible. Like if you can just prevent Zero from doing the action or just cut the just cut the action off by some random CCs, then your action then your Zero is gonna just either die or just unable to do damage. Now this skill makes it easier for Zero to finish a combo or just do a damage in, or just chain item better, or just everything, right? Just does everything better. I don't know. It's just this skill is so much better than Koji's anti-CC and stuff like that. Like it essentially Tessia is do the damage in before you get stunned, and Koji is just kind of trying to get not stunned. It's obviously trying to do the damage in before you get stunned are just much better overall, and of course, but by 20%, that's huge. That's huge because every time a collab or every time the series like Getters or Mazinger get a retrofit, they will also they'll get the buff that plus 30% chance on attack on the Shin suit. Those skills usually can make the mecha usable again just because how strong it is. And he just kind of he kind of just has it with a skill and probably stackable with those buff as well when they do come, and it's just overall very good. Like this skill is so much better at anti-ing CCs versus whatever Koji has on his second skill is just awesome, I guess. And for Koji's second skill that and knockdown and stuff like that, it doesn't really benefit anything offensively as well. Like while this skill does make it offensive, right? It is both defensive and offensive, so it's very good. And of course the pilot set, because pilot sets are pretty important in today's meta. I mean, it's not like the defining feature, but defense stats and evasive and reaction stats are pretty good into this meta. Defense, I believe it can increase final defense. Again, final defense can get after first deal, and of course, and reaction can increase your chance on dodging enemies' attack. Both of which are very strong, and just based on how much action Zero and GMK has, it can increase that by a good amount to reduce even more damage to just lower the damage of just pushing the damage down below the threshold of the damage negation much easier. Yeah, it's just everything Tessia has is just built for Zero and built for Great Mazinger Kaiser. While Koji is just kind of like I don't know, it's good. Again, Koji is good, but it's just Koji is good, but Tetsuya is a monster. Like Tetsuya is on a whole different level. Tetsuya is, I don't know, at least on Zero, and Great Mazinger Kaiser, it is on a different level than Koji. Maybe you can Koji may be better as I don't know. Like I was gonna say Koji might be better on the overall unit. Like for example, if Game Gacha put out a new unit, maybe Koji will be a bit stronger. But even that, I'm not too sure about that because 20% action CD recovery speed and 20% action changing speed, that's huge. That's huge. Like not even counting its other things. Of course, if you're not putting Tessia on Zero, right, the HP things and the final damage value reduction, they're really strong, but they might not be as important depending on the mecha that you put it on, right? And maybe at that point, Koji might be a little bit better because Koji is more encompassing, I guess. But still, this Tessia skill is still it wouldn't go wrong if you're putting it on any other pilots as well. So I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, this is the reason why Tessia is just so much stronger than Koji specifically on Zero and on Great Mazinger Kaiser. As a pilot, I think both are good, and maybe Koji can be a bit stronger or be a bit more versatile depending on if you're putting on other pilots. But on Zero and on Great Mazinger Kaiser, Tetsuya is pretty much beats Koji in every way possible. So like you wouldn't even want Koji to be piloting Zero or Grimace and Kaiser, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just use Alicia or even Kaz at that point, right? Because they just give 10% more HP, and just that alone kind of warrants a better pilot for um for Zero and Jim K. Of course, I will have to get into an alternate build that doesn't rely on HP. However, that is a different story. And even with that build, you know, Tessia, Alicia, and Kaz is probably better than, you know, Koji in even on a non even on a non HP build. So yeah, that should be it about the thing. Is there anything I talk about? However, I'd rather say though, if you're using Zero for PvE, right? If you're using Zero on PvE, because Zero is not going to PvE because it will drag the boss around the world and just kind of like make your other support and your other DPS unable to damage it. But let's say if you are in a challenge, right? If you're in a challenge mode, and yeah, let's say you're in challenge. Maybe Koji will be better in this aspect where you can like use it so immediately to. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Even then, Tessia might be better. So who knows? But anyway, okay. So enough bashing about Koji. But again, I really don't want you guys to get the impression that Koji is just bad. It's definitely, if you get Koji, it's definitely like he's definitely worth it. And plus, it is Koji, so you know, who knows when they will rerun again. I mean, we already have a rerun on NC, but for EN, you know, after like 2 or 3 rerun, you know, who knows when it will rerun again. So, and he's still a solid pilot because of the skills. So I would say it is still a good pilot to get. But if you are someone who just want to be optimal, then you definitely want to get Tetsuya, 4-0 and Jim K as well. So, yeah. And okay, I just say though, it does not mean you cannot use Zero on Koji as well. Like, you can definitely still use Zero with Koji. In fact, like after Alicia, after Kaz, after Tessia, then Koji is probably the best pilot or one of the best pilot on Zero and Grimace and Kaisers, right? So it, like, you know, it is still like the 4th best pilot for Zero or for Tetsuya, so you know, it's not like volunteer by any means. So, however, I just say that I have never seen Koji really being used at all in top PvP. But yeah. But again, it doesn't stop you from using Tessia on any other, you know, on any other pilot, like on any other mecha. Like for example, you can use it on, I don't know, what is a good unit at the moment? Freaking, I don't know. What was I gonna say? Say, I don't know, Virgil or something like that. I'm just throwing it out there, right? It doesn't. There's nothing that will hurt Virgil by putting Koji on Virgil. There might be a better pilot, you know, for example, using Matilda, using, you know, like using those fighting pilots. Maybe it's better, but it doesn't stop you from using Koji on those other pilots as well. So yeah. And same for Tetsuya as well. But again, Tetsuya is a bit more geared towards Zero, I feel like. Right? Geared towards Zero and geared towards Grimace and Kaiser, so maybe a little bit less versatile than Koji. So, alright, you know, enough about them. Let's talk about the mecha now. Yeah, fair. I spent a bit too much time on those units because I really want to like explain it well, I guess. So yeah, you know what? If you want to put Koji on Zero, you definitely can. Again, it is not bad on Zero. It is just like, if you want to top PvP, like in your very top PvP, then you probably want to use Tetsuya, because in very top PvP you want to have every advantage you have. But if you're like in, I don't know, if you want to just get in top 100, then probably yeah, you can definitely use Koji on Zero, and it might just work as well, if not better sometimes. So yeah, so definitely you know, go to if I don't have Koji and Tetsuya. You know what is, I don't think Mazinger have any skill that directly benefits Zero, because hold on, what is hold on, what is his skill again? Let me just check. What is his skill again? I know two of his skills are like copying skills, which again RNG is. Oh, hold on. Alright, so this is skill. Current skill when dealing no damage, bad damage received minus 36%. Every 20 seconds. I don't really see it has anything that can really benefit. I mean, it works, right? There's nothing that hurts Zero, but I don't like compared to other units that can benefit Zero a lot more. I mean, you can't like if you want to use it. If he's your only pilot, then yes, you can definitely put him on. But if you have a better pilot, like if you have Kaz Awaken, right? If you have Kaz Awaken, if you have Alicia Awaken, you definitely want to use these two pilots instead, like these two Awakens instead, versus him. Like put him on a better unit. Like put him on a unit that will probably die more without the put on a unit that will get grabbed a lot. Because I think he is really strong on the pilot that on a mecha that is like a bit squishy because you take half damage when you're not taking damage. That means you take half damage when you're getting grabbed, essentially. So you probably want to use a pilot that gets grabbed a lot, and that will actually take damage because your Zero is not gonna be taking much damage at all. So yeah. Alright, so let's get into the mecha. I'll probably talk about both Zero and GMK together because there are a lot of similarities. So, for both Zero and Great Mazinger Kaisers, their skills, this one I'll start on is Unibility because it is faster. So for their skills, again, their skills are again not on par against some mecha today. Like not even on par against I would say Virgil, Dante, not even on par with like I don't know. No, probably not even on par with Himiko, probably, because easily interruptible. It's just kind of an upgraded version, or like an upgraded added on version of the old Mazinger Kaiser or the old Zero and stuff like that, which is too old, I should say. Yeah, the action is a bit just too old. It may look fancy, but if you really put it on PvP, it's really not that great. Like if Zero doesn't have the chassis that I have, just having these kind of actions are like are I don't know are not enough, right? And for Zero is a little bit sort of better in a way because Zero has a lot of range attacks. So like if we can just shoot his eye beams or choose whatever that is, well, that one is interruptible. But if you shoot his eye beam and create the whole field's like the little wave effects, I think that's pretty good. Like this skill, that's pretty good. But if you're stuck in a place where you're gonna be using his actions, like this one, it wouldn't be winning anything. I mean, it won't die if you build HP builds, but it will get stuck. But the thing is, but the only difference is that when it does hit, like when it is able to hit, it can probably one-shot enemy because of his chassis. So at that point, doesn't matter how bad your action is, if you can one-tap the enemies, it doesn't matter. So like in fact, I would say the balancing for Zero is that it has bad actions. However, because its chassis is so strong, I guess. Like the cost of its action, like to balance its chassis, they make the action sucks. So this kind of like how I think about it, I guess. So. And I don't think that there's so much to talk about. In this, like Zero can be shooting a lot of these instead of going in with his actions. I mean, it still does, but for GMK especially, your GMKs can struggle a lot. I mean, GMK I would say have a better action versus zeros because you have a sword and stuff like that. Like when zero goes in, it's gonna go in with fist, right? And that's not gonna be good for anyone. But for Great Mazinger Kaiser, it actually does have a longer reach for that. So, but because zero shoots a lot more, I think zero is actually better overall. On the well, at that point, it's not really about actions. It's more about weapons assets, I guess, like in the weapon aspect. And for GMK, hold on a second. Jesus Christ, my brain is not working. Yeah, I don't know. Just on that, both of their weapons. Well, for zero, that little that beam attack that can create a lot of shockwaves on the field. That is pretty good because it can catch a lot of the support unit that is hiding, or just units that is like in a different place of the map. Can catch those things pretty well and kill them pretty well. But everything else, it's just kind of eh. Same goes with Mazinger. Same goes with Great Mazinger Kaiser essentially. But at least Great Mazinger Kaiser have a lot more weapons that can really benefit in PvE in that aspect. So in PvE, as long as you have a good ball CC, doesn't matter if action sucks, you can still be doing a lot of good damage. All right, now let's talk about the main differences between them. So, I believe they both have the same, the HP plus 2000, final damage received minus 35%. Pretty, just simple and good, awesome effect that it has. Especially, the 2000 HP does not count to its like overall HP. Like for example, it's not buffable. It's not buffable using parts, or like those units like isn't like it adds on its base HP and not overall HP, I guess. But the final damage received minus 35% will help a lot in the PvP aspect, so. Especially working with its chances. Gain 50% SP upon entering the battlefield immediately. This is always good because you can really create some good combos with it, depending on the pilot. Especially if pilot relies on a lot of action, relies on active skill activation. So, and once per 7 second, recover 10% of lost HP. That's good, but the thing is, again, you're zero. If you build it for 4 HP, you're not gonna be losing a lot of HP. But I mean, it can, like, if you're in the 4v4, this skill can potentially help you stall a 4v1 because your enemy will just be unable to kill it because zero will just be healing so much more than the damage that they're able to deal on zero. So yeah, it's just too annoying your opponent, your opponent essentially. And if you're not building zero on an HP build, then this skill really wouldn't be healing as much. So at that point, it's kind of like, I mean, it's just a good thing to have at that point. And then now this is the important part. When final damage value dealt to enemy measured higher than 0, oh, it's actually 0.8% of its max HP. I thought it was 1.2%, but then that's even stronger, right? Of its max HP, which will usually happen. You're not gonna be doing less than 0.8% damage with zero. That's not gonna happen, especially if you have Tessia or some other pilots with those final damage increase on. So you're gonna be capping on from zero most of the time. So and as an extra damage equivalent to zero's 1.2% of HP, which is like, for example, if you have 70k, I think that's like, I don't know, 800 or something damage to just siphon out of, not siphon, but like just to like erase off of enemy's HP, and they could not, and none of their stats can do anything about those erased HP. On every tick of damage that zero is able to deal for more than of the damage that is more than 0.8% of their max HP. So yeah, pretty scary. And defensively, notified damage received lower than 1.2% of the self HP, or negate HP that does less damage than 1.2% of its max HP, which is about 800 or something like that if you have 70k HP, which again you know, if you have high enough HP, you can pretty much be impervious to, or just be immune to anything enemy can throw at you. And let's say if the last hits that does like 10,000 damage does hit 0, you know, after 7 seconds it's gonna heal like, you know, half of that. So, yeah, that's what makes 0 and Great Mazinger Kaiser unkillable is because of this chassis. And also the reason why they can do so much damage, because, you know, as long as you can hit over 0.8%, which is almost every single attack, it will be, you know, erasing HP from your enemies. So, and it is just balanced by it having a bad action, so you couldn't like do it like every single time. I guess. So, and now the main difference between 0. Okay, so now this is different between 0 and Great Mazinger Kaiser, and the reason why Great Mazinger Kaiser it gets phased out versus, you know, 0, you know, just keep on being in the meta for a long time. So upon full SP, basically, you know, when full SP, final damage value dealt increase 30.5% throughout the battle, and it will also go up every 3 seconds. There's no, and as you can see, there's no limit of that. So as time goes on, it will essentially have infinite HP, infinite damage buff. And because it is final damage value, which goes over everything essentially. It goes over, you know, final damage, final defense, go over firm steal. As long as you can last, as long as you're able to hit enemies, and as long as you're able to survive, you can one tap about everything, even without relying on its chassis, which you will be, you know, which chassis are one of the reasons why, you know, the enemy dies so fast. Even, I guess, I don't know. So I just know that this is the main reason why 0 is still like usable even in NC rank. Like it's not as top in NC anymore because of the CC meta, but because of this skill, because of this infinite attack increase that give you the chance on just one punching every single mecha in the game. This skill alone makes 0 essentially still being usable into this meta. So yeah, and because Great Mazinger Kaiser doesn't have this skill, Great Mazinger Kaiser started getting phased out, and even when you get a retrofit, that gains like, you know, that gains like what, like 30% attack speed and stuff like that. Like the overall increase, is not enough, or not, it's not enough compared to when you have, you know, just when you have just infinite stats at your disposal. Like, you're not gonna be outstatting 0 anytime soon. It's like it's getting phased out, not because it couldn't do damage, or not because it couldn't tank. It is because you had to not allow it to move. Like, people use the, you know, people take advantage of its bad actions, you know, making 0 just unable to move, so it couldn't wreak havoc on the team, you know, on the enemy team, or else the enemy team would just be wiped. I've seen 0 using this skill just one, you know, coming back from a 4v1, because, you know, if you just allow 0 to move even a little bit after it's stalled for like, you know, 2 minutes, it's gonna one tap your CC, it's gonna one tap, you know, your unit 1x1, and you just have to pray that you can CC 0 until timeout, or else you might just lose. So, or lose or a tie if you also have a good 0 build on your team, right? But even at that point, 0 and like, you know, when it is a 1v1 against 0 and 0, if they stack the HP, if they stack the final damage value high enough, you can potentially just your other 0 can potentially your other 0, like whoever 0 can get the grab on the other 0 first can potentially just kill the enemy 0 as well, because, you know, like, it takes a 0 to kill a 0, I guess, because of this skill. So yeah. All right, so I don't know what to say. I guess that's just how 0 and Great Mazinger Kaiser work. And as I have already talked about, how to counter 0 is that just use CC. Use for NC right now, for E right now. because there's so much zero running around, and because there's isn't as much CC available yet, or the one that can CC, for example, like QT and stuff like that. If QT and a lot of the units that can CC right now runs a chance of being just one-shotted by zero, so you couldn't like one-shot the enemies. You couldn't be safe yet, without like you couldn't safely CC Mazinger 0 yet. But when you can, I guess, that's how you counter 0. It's just to make your enemy not move. And for now, you can probably use something like Odin. Odin can probably survive just a little bit because it can revive once in a battle. It can probably revive a little bit. It can like it gets a one get out of jail free card, and you can potentially try to use the opportunity before zero, before zero kill your team to knock the enemies, to knock the enemy 0 down, or just stun the enemy 0 while your 0 kill the enemy team, so you can perpetually keep the enemy 0 at a standstill until timeout, and you win the game. That's how you recounter 0, and for GMK as well. Or for Great Mazinger Kaiser, you can probably do that. Or again, the difference is that for Mazinger 0, there's a lot of risk involved, even if you are 1v4ing the enemy 0, because I'm not really sure if Odin can, or if 4 unit all rolling on 0 can actually make 0 be stunned all the time. If you just get a little bit of windows that makes 0 move, it might be a tie, because your 0 can just kill all of your other non-0. But with Great Mazinger Kaiser, there might be less of that problem, because Great Mazinger Kaiser, even if you allow Great Mazinger Kaiser to move, it might not be able to one-shot your units right away, because it doesn't have the infinite damage value. So yeah, but that's honestly the only way you can really counter 0, is by making them unable to move and by stunning them. So yeah, something like that. Again, it is using CCs. Again, using Charlotte is using CCs. So yeah. So basically, yeah, just I don't know. That's how you kill 0. And for the builds, I already showed the builds on I already showed the builds in my guide, but I'll just showcase it again here. Now, this is the build that you can just go with. You will never go wrong, because it just has so much. It is pure HP build, essentially. But if you go for pure HP build, I do want to say that you want to use Super Royal Fist on your pure HP build, because if you're using it for pure HP, you're not going to be taking damage for you to use Claw to get the HP back. So by using Super Royal Fist, you can potentially have enough attack to either basically proc firm still, so you're guaranteed doing more damage, more than 0.8% damage on the enemy's max HP, or you can just punch through enemy 0's negate, damage negate threshold. So if you're doing full HP, then this is something that I probably want to. This is what I would recommend. But again, you don't need to run full HP build. Or I guess depending on the skill of, depending on the effect of the parts or skill, you can trade HP for for the skill if it is worth it. For example, trading like about 0.70% HP versus having the full 10% using the blue pad, just give you like a little anti-clone thing. I think that's pretty worth it. Trading like 1% of HP to kind of screw with enemies TTN, which can CC, which can stun your 0 if your 0 is not careful. So I would say this is a really good trade-off. That's why you will not see me use the blue pad as much, because I do think it is a good trade-off to have this versus something else. Now, let's see if enemy are running to Odin or something in Zenith or something, then I do think it is worth it to trade off 10% HP with with a chain. So you're immune to most you're immune to most EM effect. Again, this alone won't save you, but it can potentially make you a little bit more movable against units that have a lot of EM stuns. And I do think trading that with 10% HP are worth it. So when you're building, zero, right, and you don't have either you don't have any HP parts, or depending on or depending on the situation, you can ask yourself, right, is this worth it, right? Is this skill worth the HP that I'm losing? If it is, then you can try it on, and if it works, then it works, right? So that should be pretty good. Like, for example, for this core, is it good? Like, is it worth it to trade about like 10% HP with a really good skill that reduce your damage, like that reduce enemy damage even more? I don't think so. So you can probably use this skill on, and I think that would be pretty good. So yeah. So you can just gauge depending on how much HP you're losing versus how much benefit you're getting from the skills, right? For example, I wouldn't really use this, for example, the action cooldown, because first of all, action kind of sucks. Second of all, the HP loss is way too high for it to be justified. So yeah. Again, same for the armor. Is it worth it, right? Is it worth it to trade, for example, is it worth it to trade the defense for some anti-CCs, right? I think so a little bit. So you probably use this one. But however, I would say if you were going for full HP, you will want to use this thing, because you get the amount of defense you get from this is incredible. So you actually, yeah, never mind. I would say just go for this armor solely, and it should be fine. And of course, for the coatings, I don't think there's any effect that is better than just getting this pure HP, because it is 20% HP. That is 25% HP, almost. That is pretty strong. I don't think there's any skills that can be as strong. The only time that you will really change the coating is in PvE, where you want to use active skill as far as possible, so you can use the Baihu coat. Otherwise, you will never really want to take this HP coat off, unless there's some better skilled, coating that comes in the future. So, a special HP worth for on zero. Question with 30% random pilot. It's too random. Yeah, again, random is the reason. Random, unless you're going 4 zeros, then that'll be good. Then that'll be good. But if you're not going for 4 0, then yeah, it's not worth it. And for the pet, now pet is the thing about pet is that, again, I talked about before on my guide as well. Only Momo adds HP from base. Like, for example, right? Let's say let's go into the battle with this, right? And let's how much HP we got. We got 70, 70, almost 73k. But then if we take it off, we got about 65k. But then when we put on, let's say we put on a steel pet, right? Steel pet have 10%, which is only 2% lower, so it shouldn't be lower than 70k, right? So let's put on a steel. Steel at 10% HP, so theoretically it shouldn't go too low. It shouldn't go, below 70k, because it's only 2%. However, look how much it only got added 1,000. The math doesn't add up, and the reason is because it adds the HP based on its base. Its base HP right now is 11,000. That's why it only added 10. That's why it only added 1,000, because the 10% is added from the base and not the overall HP. That's why you don't want to use HP pets like that. You want the only HP pet that can really do it is Momo, that can increase your HP overall. However, because it only adds about 12% HP, it is pretty high, right? It is pretty high. It can add up to like almost 10,000 HP. That's pretty strong. But there are some other pets that you might consider that can potentially be good. For example, right? Let's say you are already invincible. Let's say even without Momo, right? You got 65k HP. That is enough, right? For Ian, that's totally enough. Like, even for NC, that might be enough as well, right? That's enough for you to survive pretty much everything. So maybe you can use a pet that's more offensive. For example, Scorpion. By using Scorpion, you can stun the enemies more. You can do more damage, and the damage that and the damage that come from Scorpion, the explosion, can actually trigger Zero's chassis as well. So Scorpion, for those who don't have Momo, who doesn't want to farm Momo, can potentially be a really good choice to have, just because it just because it just more damage, right? And more enemy CCs. So something it is something I can think about that can trade off. But again, you wouldn't go around with Momo because Momo also overall increases defense abilities and also its offense abilities because again, the higher HP, the more damage and more defensive you will dealt. But just know that if you don't have Momo, if you don't want to spend stamina to farm Momo, you can probably use Scorpion. Which again, Scorpion is a unit. Like if you don't have Scorpion, I highly suggest you at least get one, because from the starlight badge that you get for free from the for the event. And for those players who don't have the badge, just wait for the next exchange event so you can get a Scorpion. So again, if you don't have Momo, you can go for something like that. And of course, if you don't have Momo, you can obviously just use some overall skill that just wouldn't affect, that wouldn't negatively impact enemy. First, you can go for GA29 just for more anti-CCs, which Zero definitely need it. You can go for probably not go for Spring Rabbit, but just some other meta mecha like meta unite, for example. I don't know, even Panda Coon or Crab or something. I mean, probably not Crab, because again, Zero's not gonna be taking damage, so you probably want to use something that is anti-CC or offensive in terms of attacks. So, but putting Momo here just because I think Momo is the best, because it does increase, or for HP heal, because again, I will get into what other builds that they can have. And same for the co-pilot skill. Now, co-pilot skill is a pretty tough thing to go for, because if you have Nia is just so good because it's at 40% HP. You're gonna be losing about 40% HP. Like, is it really worth it to use any other skill over? I mean, there is, but at that point, you are changing Zero's build so much to the point where the focus is not about HP anymore. But again, if you think that the skills are more worthy than the 40% HP somehow, then I think that sure, you can probably go for you can definitely go for it, right? Go for, again, same with Pad, go for anti-CCs or something offensive and not defensive, because again, even without a 40% HP, your Zero should still be offensive enough, but then your Zero can be killed by most units at that point. Or probably not easily, but it can definitely be killed now. So it couldn't be 1v4 anymore, I think, if you don't have any HP skill. Like, you don't have Nia, or if you don't have her on, so yeah. So anyway, that should be it about the HP build, which I'll get into the other builds. And same thing about same thing about Mazinger Kaiser. Yeah, everything I talk about here will work the same as Mazinger Kaisers. So worse than. However, and also, when you're doing all the builds here, right? Like when you're doing all the builds here, like for example, let's say you put on Discord, let's say you put on, I don't know, Cheng's, let's say you put on Scorpion, right? Or Scorpion. You put on Scorpion, and even for the corporate skill, you put on something like her, right? Then, because your HP are so low now, right? Because your HP are so low now, like barely 40%, then you can probably start using things like claws, because you're gonna be start taking damage. You are going to be start taking damage. So at that point, you just leave the damage to the new parts that you added, that you traded your HP off of, so you can get the HP back when you do take damage from the claws. I mean, but nothing stopping you from going for the fists as well, just for even more damage. But I think that's a bit too risky now. Now, if you reduce your HP to so low to a point where it is like not over 30k or something like that, right? Then maybe you can start considering using Firm Steel, just so you don't get one-shotted by the enemy Zero. Because if the enemy are using the HP build, or the enemy are using the same build as you can potentially get one-shotted by Zero if you don't have Firm Steel on. Probably. I mean, even if you have Firm Steel, you will probably still get one-shotted, but preventing you from being one-shotted by enemies, whatever, right? So just know, just watch your HP. You know, go into a battle, see how much HP you have. Then you can think like, hey, you know, is my HP too low to a point where you want firm seal on versus not? So yeah. Anyway, I'm putting the HP peel back on so people know what's going on. So, alright. But yeah, again, it's really up to you to decide if the skill is worth it, depending on your rank, depending on your meta, depending on your whatever, right? Depending on where you are at the moment, depending on the mode, depending on who you face against, you have to, you know, it's best to build it accordingly. Because again, my builds are not going to be encompassing on every single situation out there. So, alright, so now I'm gonna put on, put this back on, and then I'm gonna put on the as well. So this is the HP build and it's a build that will still work on EN, right? Just something like this, and you wouldn't go wrong. Your zero shouldn't be able to be killed by anything aside from, I don't know, Quilong when it come out, and it also had to be in this condition where zero are, you know, in a fully run situation, and because, you know, one graph on zero, Quilong's dead. So now, however, I'm gonna get into, so for those who doesn't have, for those who, I'm also gonna be uploading this segment on YouTube, so if you guys want to say hi YouTube, that you guys can say that. So this is the build for future after Wolong Thunder comes, because Wolong Thunder changed the meta so much. Well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it changed the meta so much to a point where your zero, I guess you have to completely change up your zero's build, or else your zero will just be like a punching bag essentially, and that goes for pretty much all the mecha, as well. So yeah, alright. So for the builds after for the build after Wolong Thunder comes, and also if in case, or for those who doesn't have enough HP parts or Nia to go to do a full HP build. So first you want to, first with the core, again, you still want some HP on your zero, because, you know, HP zeros, you know, zero survivabilities and zero's damage depends on his HP a lot. So you still want to either go for charge core, you want to go for this sun core, whatever it was Indian is called, and I think these two are still the staple for even for this build. And, you know, I believe this core is farmable, so I'll just put this on for now, just as a reference, right? Now for the bullets. Now bullets, you can also go for both the claws or the super raw fist, depending on, you know, how much HP you have. If you have too low, if after your build your HP are too low because you don't have enough of the HP parts, then you can probably want to go for the claws, so you can, like, you know, gain some HP back. So you can gain some HP back. In case you take too much damage. But if your HP is still pretty high enough, like for example 40k, you can still put on a fist. But I'm gonna put on I'm gonna put on claws just in case, for those players who, you know, just to be a bit safer. Again, my builds here are not gonna be encompassing on every situation, so just note of that. Now, so for the support part, this is the biggest. Or I mean, I already talked about it before, but Wolong Thunder does thunder, and what it does is that it can apply a lot of EM effect onto your zero, making your zero unmovable. So this is time where we want to trade HP for the chance for you to be able to move by using chains. Now, chain is not gonna save you. Chain itself is not gonna save you. It can just save you from certain Wolong Thunder's attack, but because Wolong Thunder, aside from his EM effect, it also have, you know, lose control. It also have some other crazy other stuff that it can be doing to your zero. But at least using this one, you can potentially move just a little bit more. Because again, under Wolong Thunder meta, you probably anything helps. You know, anything that can anything that can give you a little bit more of a chance helps. So trading 10% of HP for this one is pretty worth it. And now for the armor again, depending on your HP as well. If your HP is too low, after you finish building everything, then you want to go for firm steel. But if your HP is high enough, like for example 40k and above, you can probably go for you still want to go for the HP armor. So. And now for the coatings, coating also just go for HP again. After everything, after you calculate it, the only difference will be more on the core and more on the armor. So, and now for the pet. So, after Wolong Thunder come, the meta is gonna, like again, as I talked about before, just using the chains are not gonna save you. So in order to use Zero more effectively, is to have Zero kill the enemy's units first, especially hopefully killing enemies Wolong Thunder first before they can do anything. So your Zero doesn't get perpetually stun locked. Like even with this build that is more against for Wolong meta, I still see a lot of Zero just being completely unmovable because of Wolong or just some other CC effects on the field. So, but just again, anything helps, right? So, a Scorpion, just by putting on Scorpion, so you can potentially kill enemies faster because again, as I talked about, Scorpion will stun the enemy, making it harder for the enemy to go out, dealing a lot more damage to the enemies, and just overall, just I don't know, like just DPS, right? Killing enemies first before it can kill you or stun you, is much better in that meta. So, and then now for the co-pilot skill, again, you will want to go for something like, or the popular choice is, what's her name? Her, I guess. Her. Yeah, her special. Now her special, what it does is that when the enemy takes damage. So basically, when your Zero grabs someone, and it's doing damage, she'll be enjoying it, I guess. And within 1 second, attack and movement speed will increase, and it will activate per enemy every 2 seconds. Now this give you the extra HP, the extra attack that you need to do to do the damage to the enemies, as well as just making it faster for you to kill enemy before anything happens to your Zero, before the Wolong cloud comes, to easier kill the enemy. It basically basically you can sum this build up as a burst build. Kill the enemy first before they kill you, because Wolong meta have no mercy on you. If you miss a chance on killing enemies before Wolong start doing things on you, it could really depends on whose Wolong Thunder have a better RNG. Would depend on whoever's Wolong Thunder have better RNG would depending on whoever had the better RNG will win essentially. And this build is just to kill just try to kill enemies units before before the reign of Wolong, and especially try to kill enemy Zero, or not kill enemies Wolong before the reign of the enemies before the reign of the enemy's Wolong. Because if the enemy's Wolong Thunder dies, that's probably game over for them. Because your Zero is gonna the opposite side Zero is gonna be ramping is gonna be running rampant and just kill all of your enemies while your Wolong Thunder are just stunning all the enemies. So this build just give you a little bit of a chance to fight against Wolong Thunder, because again, Zero still got the damage. Zero got the damage to able to one-shot or almost one-shot pretty much any mecha in the game if we can get a good grab on it. So with this build is to just go for it, right? And I do think it's a lot more fun versus HP build, because HP builds can get a bit annoying, especially if enemy are using it. You won the game, right? But the enemy HP build are just holding hostage for entire match, even if the enemy Zero are being stunned a lot. And this is the problem that comes with Zero. Like if you, I don't want to say, but anyway, but yeah. This build, I believe, especially I think just after Wolong Thunder come out, I think this is the build that I saw people starting to use more versus max HP build. However, I do say though, max HP build are still safer, because if the downside of this build is that when you're using this build, anything can kill you now. Even Warlong Thunder, yeah, anything can kill you now. Especially if enemy are using, like for example, enemy can be using Odin. Odin can probably kill you now. Anything can kill you now. Especially for example, I know that in JP people are actually using Kagut. Kagut is like the blue frame mecha that that does a lot of DPS, and I can definitely see JP using those mecha to kill Zero, because if they're building Zero like this, right, with 40k HP, that is again with this amount of HP, anything can kill Zero. So this is the downside of this build. If you couldn't get a chance to kill the enemies faster than your Zero getting stunned, even with the chains, then yeah, then the enemy can kill you pretty fast. Now, compared to where if you still have an HP build, the enemy might not be able to kill you as fast, but your Zero would just be kind of like existing on the battlefield as a meat shield essentially. And the thing is, you still rely on Zero to do damage most of the time, because there isn't much DPS in the game that can. Well, actually, aside from Leviathan can probably be the role on doing damage if you want to build that way. So actually, yeah, this also plays onto depending on your team, right? If your team have a Leviathan or some other DPS mecha, then you can probably go for HP build on your Zero, so your Zero is taking all the damage, and your Leviathan are doing the AoE and killing the enemy's Wolong, killing the enemy's other BS, right? But if your Zero is your sole way on doing damage, then you will kind of want to use this build to find a chance to kill the enemy's unit first, so you get an advantage head on before the CC god comes in and stun everything else. So yeah, that's it. So this is the build that I can go for. Again, still depending on your team and depending on Ian meta as well, because who knows how strong Warlong Thunder would be, because Warlong Thunder is very oppressive because it is with Warlong. Warlong can spam so much CC that doesn't matter how much anti-CC you have on your team, it's not gonna help, because it just keep on spamming it, making all the enemies lose control, and essentially it will just be whoever's Warlong get a better RNG, then they win, essentially. So yeah. And also, but if you're gonna go for this build, right? Like, let's say in Ian, this build become better. Now, then what should I do with all my HP parts? Like, I farm Momo, right? I spent a lot of stamina to farm Momo. Now, is my HP parts all obsolete? Nope. And because this is the perfect time to put all of your HP parts on Great Mazinger Kaiser. So yeah, now Great Mazinger Kaiser is not used anymore doing the meta, because Great Mazinger Kaiser is not going to be tanking. It's just not going to be doing much in that meta. It'll just be like a meat shield there, kind of like what it is still now. But what's it called? It's still usable mecha. Like, you can, like, if you want to just have it as a meat shield there, you can, right? For example, right, you can use this build as a DPS to try to kill enemy Zero to try to kill enemies Zero or other mecha as fast as possible. Then you can have your Great Mazinger Kaiser as a full HP build that you took off from this mecha, or from the 0 HP build. So it can be the one that's taking all the aggro. Like, for example, if the enemy are using this build as well, and if it targets your Great Mazinger Kaiser who is having the full HP build, it can buy you time for your Zero to kill enemies units while not being dealing with enemy Zero who can potentially one shot you, because your Zero are doing are basically half the HP. Then when your Zero are vulnerable essentially. So yeah, so again, HP build are not obsolete yet. I don't think it will ever be obsolete, because you're just unkillable until something comes out that just outstats everything. I don't see HP build being obsolete. So if you're going for this build, right? If Ian meta in the future shows that this build is better because it can kill the enemies, team faster, it is a good time to put your HP parts, because again, most players can only do one full HP build because there's only one Nia, right? And one Nia and one Kuno, right? You couldn't go for 2 or more HP builds, or it's pretty hard if you're not a top players. But again, so if you don't want to waste any resources, you can put those HP parts on your Mazinger, Kaiser, or on your Green Mazinger Kaiser, so your Green Mazinger Kaiser can be the tank, and your Mazinger Zero can be your DPS, and I think that's pretty good. And for those, and I don't think I think it's pretty hard for those players who play in this collab to not have Green Mazinger Kaiser, because you get one from the event, right? You develop one from the event, and you get all the free rolls from it, so you should have at least 2 copies, unless you just get very unlucky. But this thing, even if you get unlucky, if you use all the roulette, you shouldn't be far from pities. And just using a 6-star, like even if you only have 2 copies, just using a 6-star can work. Just all you need is chassis. Like get your Green Mazinger to 5 stars, then for your extra copies, upgrade chassis, and then put all of your HP parts on it, because your Green Mazinger Kaiser is not going to be doing anything. Your Green Mazinger Kaiser is just going to be there, taking all the damage, taking all of the stuns, taking all of the enemies' bursts, while your Zero, your DPS Zero like this, are out there doing the damage to the enemy's team. So yeah, don't worry if you think your HP part are going to go to waste. If this build happens to be better, just know that you can just do it, put it on your Green Mazinger Kaiser, so your Green Mazinger Kaiser are also not in a waste as well. So, and also, let's say if Green Mazinger Kaiser are just not used in top PvP, right? Even then, I mean, first of all, you have to be in top PvP to to know that Green Mazinger Kaiser are not usable. In your PvP level, it might just work really well. And not just that, because you can still use Green Mazinger Kaiser in Zenith, in Apex, in melee, in melee arena. All of those meta that can potentially have, make Green Mazinger Kaiser PV, HP build shine. Because again, HP build, you're just unkillable. Again, being unkillable is really, really nice, right? And if anything, you can just use it as like a guarantee win or guarantee tie in 1v1 arena too. So yeah, for those who are going full HP, like who grind a lot for full HP, just know that hey, it's not a waste, right? And sometimes you might want to get your Zero back to max HP, depending on what mecha you get, right? For example, let's say you got Leviathan, right? And if your Leviathan are already doing the damage, killing the enemies, Warlong killing the enemies, this and that, then maybe you don't even need to use this build on, maybe you don't even need to risk, making a non-max HP build Mazinger Zero, because you already have a job. You already have someone who's doing the job, like Leviathan. But again, Leviathan also had Byron Awaken on it, so how strong it will be in the end, who knows, right? So yeah. But yeah, what is going on? What's going on? But anyway, okay, so I think that should be it about everything that I want to talk about in this thing. If you guys have any questions, just ask. I don't know what's going on in the text right now, so yeah. But anyway, yeah. So this build is just, I don't know. I'm tired. I'll be editing this segment out so people can see it, and yeah. So, and again, if I miss anything, I'll be putting in the timestamp, or I'll be putting in the comments in the description. So if for example, if you see that, so if you do something and you saw that it is wrong or it is not working as well, you can just check my comments to see, maybe something got fixed, maybe something got changed, and I will notify that as long as I know about the changes. Or you can just ask me, directly in our Discord, which is, here. So, the things here. Alright, okay, so that should be it about everything. Alright, so anyway, no blue pad again. As a toggle build, if you're going for HP builds, right? Again, I would sacrifice the 1 HP to potentially, like, let's say if enemies are running Cheetan, which I mean I don't think they will, but let's say if enemies are running Leviathan or Cheetan, I think that using this is a better option because Cheetan can still have a chance to make you be stunned. Like one Cheetan can potentially perpetually stun your Zero potentially. So by having this parts on, can like reduce the chance of enemy using Cheetan. Which again, Cheetan is not really a threat anymore, especially when Zero can just kill it easily. But I think it is just a good. It's a good. Because you know, when you're being attacked on defense, you don't know what the enemy are throwing at you. You know, the enemy might be throwing at you with like what? With like, you know, with 10 different teams, right? Who knows if one of them have a summoning mechanics, right? So just having this, I think, will help a lot more versus, you know, using the blue pad, which is just like a 10%. It's like 1% HP increase, and like a 24% side block. Which again, your Zero, if you're building for max HP Zero, you're not gonna be taking damage at all. So like the block doesn't really matter at that point. So you might as well have a useful ability, right? Like I would personally take a chain versus, you know, I'll take the chain versus versus the blue pad on support. So yeah, that's why I'm running for this one. I do have to say though, for the DPS build, like right for the burst build, the only like you can mix and match them, right? You can mix and match them because the only differences. Okay, yeah, the only differences between the kind of CCs are this, you know, are this chain, and in some extent her as well. But you don't need to like you don't need to stick to this, right? You can still put something like for example, right? You can still put something like this, right? You can still put on Nia. You can still put on Nia or Kuno, right? You can still put on Nia. And this build would just be like a higher HP of the burst build, but with like less DPS potential. But with this, you open up the possibility, and you're safer to use your Super Robot Fist to increase attack. So like, it depends on. I mean, I do think Vessi are pretty important because the speed that you get, I think, are pretty good as well. And the overall attack too, but. You know, Nia also give it some attack abilities, so, you know, test it out, right? Test it out to see which one is the better, but I definitely think you can mix and match them, right? Mix and match between, you know, prioritize on survivability and CCs, and some, like, you can go full burst as well, you can go full HP as well. It really depends on, you know, again, who you face against, your team setups, your, yeah, team setup, your, you know, who you face, your team setup, your modes that the modes that you're putting this in. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, but putting her on just cause where is she? And it doesn't even have to be her as well, right? You can put some other crazy, you know, crazy parts on, as long as it's something that can increase, you know, action chain speed. Like for example, I don't know, Hongwoo's tech, if Hongwoo Awakens is not here yet, probably will work as well. If not better than Vesley's, you know, support skill. So, or better than Vesley's special skill. So. Nani? Alright. Well, while people are asking questions, I'm going to just roll some units. I think I do want to roll for PM, so and after that I'll call it a day because I'm too tired. Again, if you're here, like later, you can just rewind on the thing that I talk about. We talk about Merlin, we talk about Koji and Tessia, and of course we talk about Tetsuya, or Good Kaiser and Zero. And then what else? And of course after the stream, if you want to review this, that if you want to review on what I talked about, I'll be timestamping on everything on the timestamp. Probably about 30 minutes or 20 minutes after the stream. So, all right, let's roll some units. What bin is it right now? Kinda garbage, not gonna lie. Probably just TM, probably. Yeah, probably just this unit. Alright, how much copies do I even have? I got 30 here. Yeah, I got 30 here. And then I got, how much I got? I don't want to go down. SSS, Mecha, so, how much do I need? I have one copy and I have some copy. I know I have one somewhere. There you go. So I got 2 copies. Then let's try to alright, let's try to get 2 copies. That's the wrong guy. I feel like I missed something, but you know what? I don't care anymore. I'll just talk about it. Like, again, if I did miss anything, I'll just talk about it in a comment. Oh my god! Holy crap! Okay, awesome. I'm using free rolls on the second one. I got 30 rolls on here. That's 20 rolls for 2 copies. That's insane. Alright, what is it? Alright, so 10 on the set. Ugh. Really? You know what? Hold on. Okay, just gonna get 10 slot immediately. I know. Okay. I'll be skip. Yep. No. I feel like my luck is used up there. Yeah. I feel like my luck is used up with TM. So. Alright. No, nothing. It's fine. Alright. Alright. Last 10 on the banner 2. See what we got. Nothing. Alright. I don't know. Do I want this unit? Do I not? I don't know. Let me see. It looks cool, I guess. I don't know. What do they really do? It feels basic, I guess. Yeah. Basic, scope. I don't know. I don't see people use it in PvE yet, in PvE or anything, so... Can you use it? I doubt it. Just by looking at the chassis, I don't think it'll be used in PvE, but... Yeah. Yeah, I don't think people are using it in PvE either, so... yeah, I guess I'll wait until, like, what is the next mecha before I spend anything on, on anything. Everything else I already have, I think. Or I just don't want it. Freaking your banner. I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna go my ult to roll for something on my ult real quick, so hold on. Also, search for the flash on the thing. Ah, so tired. So tired. Yeah, 99 slot. No, I'm just too lazy. Okay, because I don't. Yeah. Okay, so this is my ult. Now, what do my ult need? I do not know. I don't have Virgil. I guess my ult can go for this guy then. I don't know. Okay, hold on. Where's my ult's team? Ult's team is like collab teams because I only roll for collab units. I do have 3 rolls. How long until it expires? 100. It expires in 20 days. In 20 days. Is it worth it though? Should I get Lilith? Should I get any of these guys? I don't know. I do not have a range unit here. That's the thing. I don't have a range unit, so you know what? I'm gonna get Lilith. Yeah, I'm gonna get Lilith. It's probably a good deal. Probably. Right. I don't know how. Lilith is so old now though, so I don't know. About that. Don't know about that. Lilith is like all the way here. I mean, Lilith is good, but like, you know, is it worth even using free? I mean, it is free rolls too, so. Thanks. Thank you. I really feel like this doesn't provide anything for me. I feel like I should have rolled anything else beforehand. Does this account have any your? Does this account? What does this account have even? Let's see. This account have. In before, I just don't know what to roll because I don't know. I wish Leviathan come back because I definitely like this account. I think definitely wants a Leviathan, if anything else. So, well, this guy doesn't have much things at all. So it's like Jesus Christ. I stopped posting anything. I didn't even block. I mean, yeah, thanks. Is there any PvE value for Lilith? I don't know. I can tell. Also, for those who don't know, Well Zero is posting it. I'm streaming on my second channel, tonight. So if you guys want to see any, or in about like 6 hours ish, no, not like 8 hours or so. If I'm more, so if you guys want to check that out, that you guys can. So. Or like, definitely check that out if you guys want to. I don't know, man. Lilith, this account really doesn't have anything. So 3 days, I want to roll. You know what? I have enough roll on this account, I think, so I probably should. Yeah, screw it. Let's just roll Lilith then. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Lilith or this guy, or this, or what is it? Huh. Let me look at its things again. I want to see like how, because I'm probably not getting this guy on my main account, so maybe I can just get it on my second account like this one. Maybe that'll be good. Why not? You know what? Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's go for this guy then. Lilith is, I know, Lilith is good, but Lilith is just way too old now, I think. Even if it is still like good or better than it, but I just don't want to like get something this old now. Oh wow, I already got one. Nice. 3 rolls for the win. Nope. My luck's running out on the rolls. You mean the only Iron Saga channel on the thing? How much what I got for the thing. So what? Leviathan! Awesome! That's good, that's good, that's good. How much did I get for this one? Oh, WR, not bad, not bad. Don't want to open these anymore. I don't think I'll get any of them. Nope. Nope. Yeah, luck's running out on this banner, I feel like. Never mind, yeah. 53 rolls down. Okay, it's fine. You know. Nah. Yeah. The mechas. Oh, those pretty. Oh, that's one. So that's the second one on the thing. The steep, I think. Just get 2 more. I spent my gems on pretty much the gems on mostly on the things. Nope. Yeah, got pretty unlucky on the free roll as well. I mean, it is free rolls though. I don't know. I shouldn't be complaining. Alright, I think that's everything, right? Well, you know, I'll just make 200. Because I do need to increase. I do need to spend gems for some things for the event. Alright, everything else should be good. Alright, so where is it? Here you go. Alright, so let me just spend gems. Oh, I need to spend a little bit more gems to get the last skin. Don't like it. Don't want it. Or not. I do want it, but like, I don't want to spend more gems. Ugh. I'll just increase like 20 of this thing. And now I should have enough for the Mecha. Yeah. Alright. This account is so low on everything. Alright. What do we have here? Oh yeah, right. What is today's thing? Oh, I got it right. Nice. I got the okay. That means my main account got it wrong. Oh, 9 minutes until the next guest. I don't think I will be here for 9 more minutes. But anyway, I'll go back to my main account to check if there's anything else, and after that, I'll call it. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, just ask now. If not, I'll be going off. Like, I want to check what I have on my account I'm done. So yeah. Any questions, guy? Any questions? Any questions, guy? Any questions? Why is it lagging hard? Oh. I died. I lost. I'm sad. Not sad. It gives like this event gives a lot of stuff. That's anything I want. Yeah, I got every single TM. I should max the TM real quick. What's that? Where's my TM? Let's video on this guy soon, I guess. Let me make a shot streamer as well. Charge for this guy too to be there. Diablo! That should be. I'm kidding. Jesus Christ. Alright. But yeah, okay, yeah. What's it called? No more questions, guys, right? No more questions? No more questions? I will call it a day now. I've been super tired. Oh, I haven't got a dailies here. Right. But well, thank you all so much for being here. I'll share the stream again. Oh, I'll be in China for about 2 weeks, starting from next month 1st. I'll only be there for about 2 weeks. During then, I probably will have something up during then as I was traveling. And hopefully I can stream from China too. Hopefully I can, because there is something that I do have planned. So yeah, just going there to see some new stuff, because haven't been there for a while. So what's going on? Also, you know what's funny? I got a lot of burn requests because my helper team is like, yeah, because a lot of people use my helper team, right? And because I'm usually the number 1 in helper team, and people can just add, like, the people can just add me, or yeah. Hey, thank you for using me though. It's pretty awesome. Alright, well, yeah, alright, see you all next time. Or see you tonight, you know, for those who will still be doing things tonight. Bye bye.